flight crew, please prepare for takeoff. At this time, I'm going to ask that you fasten your seatbelts.
It's like this knowledge, it belongs to everybody. And for me, it doesn't matter who brings it. Everybody brings it with their uniqueness. And as long as people start working with it, because we're all going to find out something different, because we are different and we have our unique lens. So through that lens, we don't regurgitate, but we make it our own. I use words maybe to express the same thing as you.
With my clients, especially my clients who see me a lot, like, I might do soul communication and then something pops up and I can almost see their chart in my head. And then I'll be like, if they're new, I'll say, do you mind would you like for us to look at your chart? Because I think if we look at your chart, I can show you exactly why this is coming up for you and how, and I haven't done any of those courses, but I have every primary text. I mean, it's like,
right. Yeah.
So, and I tell people I'm not certified. I just know this stuff. So, you want somebody certified, I'll help you find somebody.
Right.
But
right.
We can start from right here and then go, no, let's start,
Yeah. And even for me, to be honest, I just hate certification because I have nothing to prove. So I have none certification, but I've been studying it 24/7. Well, not for the last 2 years, because that was more like with the BBD and such. But before that, I was like 24/7 studying human design in my way, with my receptive brain,
Right.
So that's a whole different way of learning. If you have a left brain and you go really into the books, for me, it was all about the experiment and talking to people and truly listening and then doing the experiment and working with my husband on it. And we were experimenting, and in our relationship, we were experimenting and we were sharing about, okay, this is what this channel means. How does that resonate with you? How would you say it feels for you? Like the 59.6, which is a very dominant channel. If you have that, I had spoken, even with the archetype Akasha with different people. And it's like even this opposite in this channel, because for my husband, it is about, can I fuck it? That's like the one liner for it. And for some other people that I spoke to, it was like, well, everybody comes to me like, and they don't want to be fucked, even though they have that channel. So there's a whole different dynamic for certain people within that channel, even. So, and even the placements that comes back to me each time, like we have this generated homogenized thing about each gate, right? Like in Gene 18 is this and the 25 is this. But when you place it in a certain planet, it's got a whole new flavor. And even if you go into tone and color and base, it becomes something even more flavored.
Right.
Like you've got a pie, and then one pie got apples and the other pie got like cherries in it and chocolate on top, and it's still a pie, but it's different.
I think the thing that is which is surprising to me, because usually I'm so quick on seeing patterns and I just get it, But the thing that I keep coming back around to is definition and open and defined and undefined, because in our definition, we don't really grow, is what I'm getting.
True. But yeah, I get it. I know where you're going. Go on.
If you're in the not self, you're not living that. Okay. So if you're not in the if you're in the not self instead of the self, then is it that the not self is that you're going to the open centers because you're not living in your definition.
Right.
And so then that's why the open centers are the place of deepest conditioning and greatest wisdom. So it's like, what I'm trying to wrap my head around is that, okay, we don't get wise unless we're in the not self.
Yeah, yeah. That's your 63 talking. Love it. Yeah.
So people who are completely, they're living, one of my friends, Dami, who I work with, she's all about the body knows, like being in the body. And she says to me sometimes, I love people who I meet who have just been living this life and they are so grounded in the body. And in a sense, whether, no matter what type they are, they're satisfied, they're peaceful, they're successful, they're what is the reflectors? It's surprised.
Surprised, yeah.
Yeah. So they're living their dream life, whatever that is. It could be they're a grocery boy.
Right.
In those cases, what goes on up here is like, oh, they're living their definition. They might be really simple people. Yeah. Because they just keep living their definition and experiencing their satisfaction, success, whatever, surprise, peace. Yeah. But it's when we are in the conditioned self, the not self, so we're not in our definition, so we're in those open centers of instability, that we either are conditioned and then, okay, we're not successful, or we don't think we are bitter, we're, starting wars, we're manifesting, whatever.
Yeah.
So then we're living in the not self, and because I'm bitter, unsatisfied, unsurprised, not peaceful, whatever, I start to try to navigate that. And in my experiment, I don't know anything about human design. I'm just like, oh, that's not making me happy. So what will make me happy? And I might stay bitter and drink myself to death. Right. Yeah. But if I have any self-reflection in my body at all, I'll start experimenting with. So through life experience, I'll get myself back to definition. And in that process of living in those not self gates, channels, that's how I become wise about, I don't want to go there, but I understand how this works in life. I see it in my day-to-day world. That person's bitter, this person. And maybe I don't understand that we're all not the same. Like if I don't have the words of human design, I might perceive everybody as a generator. And I might look down at people who don't seem to have the capacity to keep up.
Yeah, that's your sixth line, who's judging. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And let me tell you something funny, because you mentioned exactly what happened to me in my life when I was depressed and absolutely not happy, and even, tried to kill myself, didn't work. I had this moment, maybe I shared it before, but I was floating above my body and, having contact with my higher self, like I was bulimic at that time as well. And I heard, my higher self saying, we can't go on like this. This isn't healthy. And, what do you want in life? And I said, well, I just want to be happy. So, okay, what makes you happy? And I said, I don't know. And then I heard, well, let's find out. And that's what brought me my 952 channel that I have, step by step back to self.
So trying to figure out what, so for many people who are unsatisfied or whatever, that journey of finding joy is how they move from the open centers to the defined self.
Yeah.
So
I love these open centers but maybe that's my 35, 36, loving the little drama, and the drama happens in the open centers. Wouldn't be exciting if there was nothing to do.
Well, okay, so this is for me. You know, you just hit on something. God, I'm a little teary. Of the reason why this exploration has been so important to me, and also been confusing, because I have the emotional wave.
Right. You have
And
the
I have
pressure
the-
to feel. Yeah. Yeah.
I have the root
Right.
pulsing the emotional wave, so supercharging the
Yeah.
emotional wave, poking it, you know, feel.
Yeah.
And I can feel, I mean, I do feel, but I don't enjoy feeling through stress, drama, strife. You know, Cohen, when he did my reading, he said, you're not here for survival issues.
Right.
So when you have people calling you for sessions because they're in survival and they want you to fix it, these are not your clients. And I didn't say it to them, but I felt like I don't enjoy those sessions.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want the client who has to have a session tomorrow because they need me to put them back together. It's not.
No,
I
that's
can
for the fifth
do
line.
it.
These are for the fifth line. That are a fixer. Those are the fixers.
Right. I can't. It's not that I can't do it. I can do it. It's just that
Not enjoyable.
I don't enjoy it.
No.
And so, you know, I guess what I'm trying to understand is, and what I would love if you could help me, is that you know, maybe there's some corruption in the field that you're going to attune me to clear this out. But, you know, when I was working with Bella and Ashley, I didn't like all the drama.
Mhm.
It wasn't fun for me. Didn't like all of their emotional highs and lows because it seemed so unnecessary to me. And Bella used to say to me that I was in shadow because I was resisting going to the depths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I
sorry,
was-
I'm laughing, but I will explain why.
I'm like, I've been to those depths.
Right.
I'm not here for survival. I'm here to thrive
Right.
and be successful. And that didn't feel right to me. And I guess that's what got me confused, because you know what, Corrinda, I love it and I feel most successful when I'm not experiencing drama.
Me too.
When I'm not experiencing, you know, pregnancy, giving birth, and my contractions are at 10. Or, you know, like, that's not what's fun for me.
No, not for me
Can I do
either.
it?
But you know what that is? That's emotional maturity. We have matured.
Mm.
We have. And why I was laughing, because there's so much projection. Now, I don't know so much anymore, but back then and even lately, you know, like a month ago, everything that they projected on you said something about them with their open solar plexus and not able to cope with all that they were taking in and all those life experiences. They were not learning from it. They were just making it personal. But we already went through that whole wave journey. We have lived with it for all our lives. And we've learned to not cope with it, but even like enjoy it, like, oh, here he comes again, and just sit with it and cry something, or, you know, whatever. And I have the 36 in my moon, so I'm kind of always attracting these people that want to just share what they have been through. But I can hold space for that with my 22. Although I don't go along with the drama, And our wave is our wave. It has nothing to do with somebody else's wave. It has nothing to do with people with an open solar plexus. They need to become mature, and they're not dealing with it yet. They try to. I see them try. I see them talk to so many people that try to fix them.
I used to have this little shield that would appear over my third eye. And I get upset because I know it was back over it. And I have a dear friend who's a gifted clairvoyant. She'd say, well, if you'd stop taking on all the shit that's not yours.
Yeah.
Because I'm such a self-reflective person.
Yeah.
That when something's coming at me, I go, oh, is this mine? And I do all the work to see if it's mine.
Yeah.
And so I and sometimes it's not mine. And but I mean, I really think that's what got me into looking at the open centers, because I'm so self-reflective. I was like, where am I off? Because,
well, if I'm hearing you say that, I kind of feel the self-doubt in the 63, taking it on personally and doubting yourself and your own truth, because it's coming in, and it's coming in so strong. You amplify everything in your open centers, and you have a lot. So,
and that's another thing that I'm confused about is, it's not so much confusion. It's like a better way to phrase what I experience is knowing that all my life, I mean, being a college professor, the more I knew I didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's not about confusion, really. It's about the more I learn about this, the more I know I don't know.
Yeah.
And the more I want to know, because I find it interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm confused. It's like, oh, I have a gap.
No.
And I'm
fascinating.
I know I have a gap. And so, I'm trying to fill in the gap, and I will say I have made progress in what you were just talking about in the game, because some things happened, and instead of using a not self strategy of making peace at all cost, or stuffing, or being extraordinarily patient because someone else isn't there, I had the courage to just say what I wanted.
Right.
And that triggered, my partner. And I got a whole lot of stuff thrown at me. Mm-hmm. And I worked through what it felt like, and, what I wanted to say in the moment. And then I just put it down, and I actually just went to non-physical, and I was like working it out in nighttime. And I just, before I'd go to sleep, I'd say, I asked my body and soul to work this out on the atmic plane for the highest resolution. And then the next day I just woke up and I knew what my path was, which was to not respond. Right. Or react, to just be silent, to know in my heart what my truth was. And if it was brought up again, to just have a simple one line, but to not go into the drama or to the chaos or to the projection. Right. And, when I woke up with that awareness, I felt so peaceful, and I just chose not to address it. Mm. And then my partner had some really interesting physical manifestations of anxiety and stress. And I realized that, she was processing her own not self. And that projection on me, I didn't need to take. And I've been so hyper aware of not for me, this is an expansion experience, and I don't want to, like, I'm really hyper aware of where I feel like I went, was when I got the invitation. I didn't feel, I was so happy about the invitation.
Yeah, that you just took it. I did the same. So there's no wrong in that. It's just you just, experimented, and now you know. I learned from that. I got you got wise about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got really wise about the invitation through that experience. Yeah. And, so then that was mistake number, or, not self, not choice number one. Right. And number two was because I have emotional maturity, I was holding to unmature people's
expectation
way.
Yeah.
Right. And I stopped a lot because I knew they couldn't hold it.
Right. Exactly.
And so then I was in the not self because I wasn't speaking my truth.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that I wasn't doing, when I finally did, they couldn't hold it.
No.
So, I spoke my truth in this new experience, and I am growing. I'm 60, almost 61.
And still going strong.
Still growing.
Yeah.
And it takes us back to that wave, and that, I guess I understand what I'm asking you. It's really interesting. It just kind of came to me. I think in some way I'm asking you to tell me that I'm not wrong, because I don't want this in the emotional way.
but if you don't want it, you're still denying it, while it's giving you, so you've got the cross of consciousness, and it brings you so much awareness of feeling all these emotional feelings, that it's a gift to human beings, because who else on this planet can feel as a human?
Well, I guess a better way to say it is I don't enjoy it. I'm not searching it out. If I have to go there, I'll go there, but it's not my favorite thing,
right.
I don't need to.
What came up for me was like, maybe the next time when you feel like you're real on your deepest low, why don't we come together? And maybe I can just sit with you. Like I feel like in Dutch we have a saying, and I don't know exactly how to translate it, but because it's a real Dutch word, like shared. Let me call it just a shared wave is a half a wave, or something like that. That's a rough translation, but it's a beautiful saying in Dutch. When you just be with somebody who's going through something, you don't even have to talk about it, or you may express it in any way you like, because I can hold it. If you want to scream, if you want to cry, I'm not going to sit like I want to bring a solution or something. I don't, because I know how it feels, but sometimes it's just nice to go like, sometimes I do that with my husband. I'm saying, I'm in my low and I feel like this and I hate it. And he just starts laughing, And like this weekend, he told me he was very down. He said, if I die now, it's okay. So he was really depressed. And he says, I don't know if it's the planets or this or that, but I feel that way. And I just listened. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, of course, I said to him, well, maybe we should do, I don't know exactly what I did, but maybe I even just said, well, what a gift it is that you have nothing to desire anymore. It means you're kind of very happy and very satisfied. And he was like, oh, damn. If you're nothing to wish for anymore, like you could die now because there's nothing left to, to see, to do, whatever. I said, well, but it means that you're very satisfied with your life. And I know that my 35, 36 sometimes can go like, this is boring. But I kind of like it now, because when I think back on all the drama, I go like, nah, so we just talked about it. And later he said to me, thank you for just listening to me, because I was afraid you were going to judge me and, do this or do that. And I said, well, no, I just felt into my heart. And I felt what you needed. And Yeah.
And I do that. There are a lot of people who call me for that, you know, friends who are just out there, you know, and I do the same thing. So I get that.
But
And
who's there
that
for
doesn't,
you?
what say?
I said, who is there for you when you have that?
That's the thing. That's the thing.
It's an open invitation. Feel
Thank
free.
you so much. You know, so yeah, so thank you. So do you feel like there's more for me to understand in your well? Do you about operation of open centers and defined centers? Is there something that's coming through for you?
Yeah. A little bit earlier, the 35 came through, and when you talked about everything that you went through and the meaning of it, and I was getting like, well, that's the meaning with your open centers. You experience life in an amplified way, which creates that you become so conscious and aware of all the life processes. So it's making you like this wise, and I'm now seeing like this. I like the from the Two Towers, Lord of the Rings. I was seeing Gandalf, but then a female, and that's you. You know, if you are able to see that all these open centers are not you, but are your even like I'm seeing a crystal that is like seeing everything, and you looking in with your cross of consciousness, you're looking in that crystal ball, which are your open centers, and you see everything happening, and you see how everything operates, and the why and the what and the who, and like you become aware of what this planet is all about. That's what came through.
I love that. I'm so I feel like you're right on, because this last weekend, you know, I've been here in the house by myself. My friend Elizabeth is house sitting, and Trey's been on a trip. So I've had almost 2 weeks just to me, which I really enjoyed, you know.
Yeah.
But I was deeply aware of how the right angle cross of consciousness sees everything.
Right. If it's operating correctly. So now it's a confirming that you're operating correctly, because you're seeing everything and feeling everything, sensing everything. You know, you've got all this rightness also. So I'm kind of sensing, and I dare not to say about myself, but Leanne Wolf kind of confirmed it for me when I asked a question about it, is that I think we are the pre-solar plexus awareness center wise people. If that makes sense. It wasn't the right sentence, but yeah.
Because Ross said, right? I mean, I may be getting this wrong, but Ross said that the quad right is the closest to the rave currently living.
Right.
So we're just a fraction off of that.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, we're the second closest thing.
Yeah.
To what the rave child will be.
Exactly.
And what you just said made me aware of something. When people ask me what my gift is, I'll often say, well, I'm quadriclarian. And they'll go, what does that mean? And I'll say, well, I see energy, hear energy, feel energy, and sometimes I just have a block of knowing. And so when that's happening, I mean, literally that's what happens for me when I'm, you know, when I do a soul communication, I go inside myself, passive brain,
right, yeah,
inner vision,
right,
and that's how I feel like I connect to the quantum field. And then I might start with seeing, but when I'm really on, I'm getting it from everything.
Yeah,
coming in from all, and I'm just able to translate that. You know, I've often felt my biggest gift was the gift of communicating from all these pipelines that come in.
Yeah.
So that, you know, was really wise what you said. It helps me understand the right angle cross of consciousness better.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and that's the beauty of what I constantly see. And also with me knowing what I am in the Mayan calendar, I am the white mirror, which is that everybody is a reflection of me and vice versa. So by us coming together, you know, we can highlight stuff for each other, things that are hidden for ourselves or are kind of veiled. The other can bring out, because we bring this big, bright white mirror in front of each other, and then we are able to see. And the more mirrors we have, the more we can see.
And that for me, like I'm fearless in seeing. I know that. And I think this ties to what I was getting at. I don't need to always be at the 10 contraction to see it.
Yeah.
Or to experience it, or to feel it. Or maybe I'm fooling myself. I don't know, maybe.
I love it when you say I'm full of myself, because I sometimes dare not say it, but I know it. That I just we just know that we have it, but we can't say it. Yeah.
All right. I feel like I'm ready for your wisdom, like what's coming through of what we had talked about talking about today. I feel so much clarity in my field. It's really amazing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah. I was kind of sensing that there was just one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that for myself as well and towards you. And I don't know if you already know that for yourself, but I guess I need to repeat it. But you know more than you think you know. And you may trust it even more than you trust it now. So don't ever doubt yourself. You can ask yourself questions. That's self-reflection. That's always a good thing. But don't doubt it.
Yeah.
So be full of yourself.
You know, something will come through, like I'll have some big awareness about, it could be as easy as the path I'm going to take, or, you know, the person who just walked in. I get it. And sometimes what I know doesn't make sense to others.
But trust it.
Yeah.
Because you know, your body knows, all these open centers know, and it's the mind. And of course, with the cross of consciousness, that's like a tricky one, because the mind does not know. I feel it's just the portal for you. It's the portal of awareness. It's the center of awareness, but it's outer authority. It's not to, again, yeah, simple. It's not to make decisions for you or to doubt yourself. And that comes, then I can go right into what I found. What I found so interesting, because I never looked at it from this way. I never looked at the fears. I know they're there, but I never talk about them because I kind of feel that I don't kind of have deep fears, but it's not a conversation. So I even wrote down, because I knew that by head, that the fear gland is the amygdala. And then I go to awareness, intelligence, tonal level cognition, the purpose of being. Complete awareness is complete intelligence. And that's what I feel with you, with your cross of consciousness. It's like if you have that complete awareness, like I said, you're looking in that open center as a crystal ball and you just see it all. And you have been into that ball to even know how things feel, how things taste, how things sound. And because you have experienced with your 35, you experienced life as well. And now for you, it's only just come out of that crystal ball and be Gandalf in female form then. And then you've got the complete intelligence, like the awareness center, you have that. And it says, like the spleen is meant to turn into action and reaction. And I'm not sure if the reaction is a shadow or just a reaction, because when you suddenly get a hit like turn left, you just go left. So action, reaction, maybe it's the same. And then I have mental fears leads to being the not self in order to deal with the anxiety. Then it says about the Ajna, that's the personality crystal. And the 40, because I have the 47, I wrote down, it's not about action, but what concepts are futile and which ones make sense. And then the solar plexus, 48, 36, quality of life, pleasure and pain. And what I also wrote down is the split in someone's design will show you what they look for. How it's going to be expressed, and then leads to transference, losing your stability in the earth, and meaning like the planet Earth in your design.
So can we pause just for
one more sentence.
Yeah.
All of these create defense and sensitivity, triggers, intellectual challenges. And that's why I was triggered by, because when, even within the group, and we'll come to that later, it's like so many people still get triggered. So triggers are that mirror. It's something you're not conscious of yet. It's not something you're aware of yet. It's something you have to still work on. So if you did that work, I think you've got a very, very silent and happy head and ajna.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, triggers are that, and also those two things. But for me, it also includes, there was a betrayal of the self, a not self choice,
Right,
somewhere prior, and we're just getting ready to repeat it.
right.
And you're triggered because your body and soul are like,
Not doing this again.
I don't want to do this again.
Right.
So, I mean, that could be an intellectual challenge. I mean, I guess it could be a subcategory of intellectual challenge. And it also could be a subset of what you're not aware of, because if you were aware of it, you wouldn't repeat it, or you wouldn't self-sacrifice, or you wouldn't, make that choice of giving up some part of yourself for this thing.
Right.
Whatever it is, this relationship, this.
Yeah, and I almost feel like if you get triggered, you have to go back to your center. So going back to your defined stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's who you already are, and all the other stuff is your school.
So I wonder if that's true of each thing. Does the open head know when to know?
No, but it does know when to think about something, a solution, an inquiry, a insight, or it knows when it's valuable to know. At least for me, because I have an open head and ajna, and I feel like even talking to my daughter, who has a completely open head and ajna, and a completely open spleen and open ego. She says, "Mom, I'm so busy in my head," and da 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 da. And I was like, "Okay, that's not possible." In a way, like you are, because you have a constant stream. So I said to her, well, she knows her design, and I can get a little bits of that. I get into her, and then she receives and listens and takes it in. And so I said to her, well, you work in, she works in, how's that called in English? Well, she works in a restaurant on a park, and she's a manager there. So she is even hearing, listening, taking in all the thoughts and stuff from her staff, but also the people in there, the customers. So I'm saying to her, yeah, you're like this open antenna, and everybody is like going in your head, like little dollies walking inside of your head, going. I said to her, but it's not you. They're asking questions, they're saying stuff, they're giving their opinions, and you go like, oh, what's this? What that? Because it's completely open. It has nothing to filter it. So you don't even know what to make sense out of it. What's the meaning of all this incoming? And I said to her, just let it go. Just send them home. All these voices, send them home. Just breathe through it and breathe them out of your head. Now she tries. It's difficult. She's young. It's not her material. But she tries. She has the cross of healing. So she has a lot to learn about that. But that's how it works for a completely open head. And for me, it's discerning about, if people come with questions towards me, is it something for me I want to give a solution to? Can I give a solution to it? But mostly, do I want to think about what they bring to me to answer? And sometimes before I would try to prove myself that I was knowledgeable. So you hear my open ego, you hear my open spleen, going with my open head, like trying to prove that I'm knowledgeable, that I'm wise, and then come up with a solution with my mind. Doesn't work.
They can't hear you in those cases because it doesn't resonate. The vibration is
off. It's off. And it's because I'm thinking about it. It's not coming from the true well. And if they're coming with a question and I just immediately kind of get an answer or a download, if I give space to not think and allow something to come in, something that they have the answer inside. Only I have to do, like you do, is pull that answer out of them. So I don't give them their answer. They give their answer to me, and I just translate it. And for me, all these questions that I have about life and such, it's just fun. I love human design. Can I study it? Well, I'm trying in my way, by just listening and being receptive and taking it in and hearing all the stories and observing how the mechanics work. But I can't study like any other study because I can't hold it. You can. I can't.
I that's not how I read. I mean, I can read it and I can comprehend it, but will I hold it in my field? No, the way I hold it in my field is through this.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's the receptivity of our brains that it gives like this another layer towards like the open or the defined center. I get that. Yeah. And for me, it even is, sometimes I can't just even grasp what's being said in the beginning. And the funny thing is if I allow it to just percolate and just take it in, I can trust now that at some point, the realization of the 47 comes in then. And I suddenly just know it's what happened when I lost my hard drive, I was holding on to it, and it showed me that I can trust that everything that I have taken in is somewhere. And if somebody comes with a question that is for me to answer for them, it will come. But it's not for me to worry about.
I mean, that's something through our conversation and through our study together that I've really gotten, because I might not even remember the exact thing, but I'll remember the book I read it in, and I can
Right.
go, oh, that's in here. I think that's, and then I'll open it, and there it
Yes. Yeah.
you know. So that's given me so much release, because I don't have to put the mental pressure to remember. I'll know where to get it,
Right.
or it'll just come out in my own words.
Right.
You know?